Hello, Echo here. I'm sharing Legends and Leagues South. This studies Africa and the Middle East and the oceans that are around them. And each student will need their own workbook. And there's a storybook that goes along with it. And then there are geography songs that also go along with the lesson. This is open and go. There's no separate teacher's manual. It tells you right in the workbook what to do. You will want a workbook for each student. And it's geared for grades 2 through 5, which I love. Anything that you can do as a family study. So I did this with my 3 boys. I did half of it last year when we were studying Africa, and we're going to continue studying Africa this year, so I'm going to continue on through it. I've really liked it. I like that it has mapping in it, but it also has interesting information about the countries, and so we've really enjoyed this. Let me show you inside and show you how it works. Time for a page turner. Legends and Leagues South. This is the workbook. You'll need one for each student. And there are 16 chapters. It's geared for grades 2 through 5, and so you can do it all together. And they do have other workbooks that cover different places in the world, so you can start with whichever one you want. And I think that's why up here, chapter 1 is continents and oceans, because if you're starting with this one, that gives you a good overview of the world, and then you go into Africa and then into the Middle East. There are 2 reviews, one at chapter 8 and one at chapter 16. And here at the beginning, they have a little bit of information on the program, the way that it's set up and the way that it would work. They also have a little bit of goofiness. They like the play on words with legends, where there's a legend for a map, but also legends can be stories. And so they have some interesting characters that they use. They would say that you could do it in a semester if you want to just squish it down, get through it quick. But if you're doing it throughout the year, they suggest 2 days a week, but every other week. So that's kind of nice, or especially if you like to trade off between geography and some other topic, then that makes it real easy to do that. This gives an example of what you might do if you do it over 2 days. So they have it broken down there for you. And then each chapter has different sections in it. So you'll see that as we go through. Every chapter starts off with vocabulary words. Then they'll have what you're going to sing from the geography songs, and also what you're going to read in the storybook. Then they have these comprehension questions based on what you read in the storybook. The next section here shows exploring, and so this will talk a little bit about a place. And each chapter is a little different. There's mapping skills that they'll have as you go throughout it. And they connect the mapping skills to the stories and things that you're learning, which I really love. So that chapter right there was pretty short. And then here we are on chapter 2. To give you an idea of some other chapters and how they go, I will stop on one partway through and show you how that's set up. How about right here, chapter 4. So right here you can see it starts with the story page. We've got this map here. And then vocabulary, you're going to sing a geography song and read a certain chapter in the storybook. And then you have these comprehension questions. Sometimes we did the questions orally, and sometimes I had them write them down. Next, we have an exploring section. Here we're doing Tanzania. So it tells you a little bit about it, some of the history of it and things that are there. And then they have these 2 sets of questions, the this way questions and the that way questions. They said younger students should just do the this way ones, and these questions will be based on the map. So it's all things that they can figure out from there, or things that were in the text. And then older students would do both, the this way and that way. I had my kids do all the sections. It's fine. They enjoyed filling it out. It was short. Okay, and then here we have sightseeing. So here it's talking about migration, and it's showing on the map how the migration works between Tanzania and Kenya. And then here, answering questions about the migration story, but using cardinal directions. So this goes into map skills now. Now we go back into another exploring section. So now we're exploring Kenya and Uganda. And again, we have a little information, then we have it this way and that way. They can fill out one or both. More exploring, we're learning here about the people, and then more map skills. Here you're learning about a grid style map, and then answering questions for that. More exploring, talking about the flag, and you can design your own flag. So you can see here how it's got a little bit of different things. There's the comprehension, there's the mapping, there's learning about the peoples and learning about the countries. I really love how much is included in this. So we'll look right here. We're getting to the review, and that was chapter 8 right here, story review. We've got a vocabulary section, again, singing a song and listening to the storybook, answering the comprehension questions at the bottom. Then here they were connecting the countries and the capitals and putting them all together with what goes with what. And then here, these are all different legends. And then here putting in what the capital is for each country. And then here naming the country for each capital. And that's it for the review. Huntsman spider. Lucky them. There's also a little bit of that craft style in here too, where they have, you know, like designing the map. They had a mask in there that you could make. So that's kind of interesting too. If your kids really like hands-on stuff, they'll enjoy that. Okay, so then in the back, there is an appendix that has all of the glossary words that they learned. And then there are answers right here in the book, right in the back. So I love how this is open and go. You don't need a separate teacher's manual. It's very simple. And a quiz as well for different chapters here. So. All right, moving on to the storybook. So this storybook is very fanciful, I feel. Right here, we meet Peter. It's Peter from Peter Pan. And the chapters are short. I'm not sure that there are favorites. I feel like there was a lot of names and things going on, but maybe nothing that's really connecting for us so much with what I want them to learn about Africa. There are some legends and people, like here, Dr. Livingston, he was in Africa, but it doesn't really talk about what he did there. He just like kind of shows up as a character. So yeah, so it's fine. They're so short that it's easy enough to read them, but you know, you could definitely do it with just the workbook. It would be fine. It doesn't add that much content, in my opinion. Then we've got the geography songs. Now, I will try to put a little bit of the sound in here. I'm hoping that that won't kill the copyright laws and stuff. But, and then they have this huge map, which folds out. I mean, this thing is so big, and it keeps going and going. And they do have the lyrics of the songs on the map. So you could open the map and use that with your student to point to different things. But you'll also see in the book that they've got maps. So for this workbook, you're only using the Africa, Middle East songs and the continents and oceans songs. One thing I do wish is that they had the numbers here for what the songs are. So on here you can see the numbers, like what each one is, but on here you have no idea. So you have to like just count down them. I don't know. I'm gonna end up writing them in later, I'm sure. Okay, so the way that it's set up in here is they'll have the lyrics written out, and then they'll have a map that goes along with it so that you can point to things as they're singing their songs. And here's the Africa section. Now each one of these sections is its own song. And then over here, it corresponds to the map and to the numbers that they have. So right here, Equatorial Africa, here are the words of the song. Here are the places you're gonna point to. The numbers are 1 through 8, so you just have to locate those. And 1, 2, 3. So it's a little maybe cluttered. There's a lot of numbers and letters and things, but once you do it a couple of times, I think it will just be easy to do that. Now we did not implement this, but the more that I'm looking through it, I'm like, well, we probably should have implemented this, because I feel like this is such an easy way to be actively pointing at the countries on the continent and for it to stick. South America, Europe, Asia. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that look inside Legends and Leagues South. And remember that real life is messy and beautiful, and better with books. Lesson, what you need to do. So I'm sharing, don't say so. I'm gonna explain a little bit about how it works, how it's, this is not good. Oh, so maybe not. Maybe this was just reminding you of what you've learned. Let's see. Yes, because it looks like this is just... Okay. We have 2 exploring? Oh, we did have 2 exploring. Isn't that funny? Eastern Africa and Eastern Africa. Yeah. Okay. You know, what direction is north and, you know, things like that. So